All right, guys, once again, we are working on composite functions, finding f of g of x or g of f of x. And instead of giving you a function, which we'll get to in a second, I will eventually give you functions. We just look at example problems where instead of giving you a function, I give you a relation, a set of ordered pairs, and we looked at how you can find the composites of relations. The next thing I want to look at is finding the composites given graphs, right? I could simply give you the graph of f of x. Here it is. There's the graph of f of x. And a graph of g of x. There it is right there. There's the graph of g of x. And I can ask you to do composite functions for these guys as well. So we're just going to go ahead and jump right into these and show you how they work. Again, recognize the notation. This is not red fog, right? This symbol in math means of. So this is f of g. And I want you to find the domain value of -1. Now, remember, right, I'm going to rewrite this for you the first couple of times just to help you remember what it means. And here's another way of thinking about that notation. You could rewrite this as f of g of -1. You might like looking at it this way better. Again, you should be comfortable by the time we get done with this set of notes and these videos. You should be comfortable with both notations, but maybe this helps you see it a little bit better. You're going to take that domain value, -1, and you're going to plug it into the function g. So I'm going to plug a -1 into the function g and figure out what that gives me. What's the range value that I get when I plug in a domain value of -1. But I'm not going to stop there. I'm then going to take that range value and plug that into the function f, right? Figure out what f gives me back when I plug in whatever this guy comes out to be. When I plug that into f, what do I get back out? But we're going to do it using graphs. Again, very straightforward. After I do the first couple of them, you'll catch on real quick and see how it goes. I need to find a domain value of -1 in the function g. Well, here's my g, right? This is my graph of g. Remember, domain values are x values. So I need to find the x value of -1. There's -1 on my graph right there, -1. Now, the range value, what I get out is the y, right? Range is y. So if I plug in a -1, g tells me the y value is wherever the graph is at, which is at a +1, +2 is where I find my graph. So when you plug in a -1 into g, what does g give you back? You plug in a -1, g gives you back a +2. So f of +2. Now, I need to take that +2 and plug it into f. This is my new domain value. I'm going to plug this into f, and f is going to give me back my final range value. Well, I need to find +2. Remember, that's going to be my new x. That's what I'm plugging into f. So, +1, +2 right there. That's my domain value, +2. My range is going to be what f gives me back when I plug in a +2, which is going to be whatever the value of the function is, which on my graph looks like a -1, -2 is what f gives me back, -2, which is going to be your final answer. Let's go ahead and try one more of these. Again, I can rewrite it. Be careful, though. This time it's g of f of 2, so that's going to be slightly different. That's going to be g of f of 2. And so what I'm actually going to do is start by plugging a domain value of 2 into the function f. Then once I get that value, whatever it is, I'm going to plug that into the function g, right? We work inside out, right? So here we go. I plug a 2, my domain value, my x value. So here we go, 1, 2, there's that domain value. What does f give me back? Well, whatever the value of the function is. -1, -2. So f of 2 is equal to -2. So g of -2. G of -2. Okay, now I take that, that's my new domain value, But now I'm going to plug that domain value into the function g. So I need to find x equals -2, right? Because x is our domain values. So -1, -2. Now what does g give me back when I plug in a -2? All I have to do is figure out where the function's at. +1, +2, +3. G is going to give me back a +3. Right? Let's go ahead and try another one. Let me slide up here just a little bit so that you can see this one a little bit better. I'm not going to rewrite this one. It's already written in a way that I think we like a little bit better. I'm going to plug a +1 into g, see what the function gives me back, and then plug that into f. So I find +1, which also happens to be, right, when I plug in a +1, what is the value of g? What's the y value? Well, since the point is 1, 0, 0 is the y value. So this is going to be f of 0, right? That point is at 1, 0. 1 is the domain value, 0 is the range value. 0 is what I get back. When I plug in a +1, the value of y is 0. That's why it's at 0, 1, the point 0, 1. Now I plug that domain value into f. So I find 0 on the x-axis, which is right there at the origin. And what does f give me back? Well, -1. F gives me back a -2. Let's keep going. The next one here, let me slide up a little bit for you. I am first going to plug a 2 into f, figure out what I get back. Take that, plug it into g, and figure out what g gives me back. So let's start by first plugging a 2 into f. Here we go. We're going to do it all at once. We're going to plug a 2 into f. Here's f. Plug in a +2. 1, 2. What does f give me back? -1. F gives me back a -2. I'm now going to plug that -2 into g. So I come over here to g and I need to find -2. My domain value, the x value, -2. -1, -2. What does g give me back? Well, it's whatever the value of the function is. +1, it's at a +3. So this next one, this guy right here, we plugged in a 2. We work all the way through our composite function, and you get back a 3. All right. We're going to do this one, but I'm not going to rewrite it before we do it. You should now, at this point, be pretty comfortable thanks to the first ones. I'm going to plug a 2 into g, figure out what g gives me, plug that into f, and figure out what f gives me. So I'm going to start by plugging a g into 2, and let's see what happens. All right, so I plug a 2 into g. +1, +2, that's my domain value. What does g give me back? Well, whatever the range value is, which is at a -1. I now take that -1, plug it into f. So I go to -1, and f gives me back a -1. So this next guy is -1. Let's do the next one. Again, it's written as g of f of 3. I'm not going to rewrite it. You should be, hopefully at this point, a little bit more comfortable with that notation. You should recognize that this means you're going to plug a 3 into f. Whatever that result is, you'll then plug in to g. So let's go ahead and find 3, the domain value of 3 on the graph of f. 1, 2, 3. What does f give me back? Whatever the value of the function is, which in this case is a -1. That now gets plugged into g. So we go to -1. What does g give me back? Well, whatever the value of the function is. +1, +2. So this one's going to be a +2. Let's do the next one. I need to plug a 0 into g. Here we go. 0, plug a 0 into g, g gives me back a +1. I bring that over to f. I go to +1, f gives me back -1, -2. F gives me back a -3. So we get -3. And the last one more to do. I'm going to plug a -3 into f. Take that result, plug it into G. So f of minus 3, here we go. That's 0, -1, -2, -3. F gives me back whatever the value of the function is, which in this case is a +1. So now we go to G. Here's G. I go to +1 right there. What does G give me back? Well, the ordered pair is 1, 0. So when I plug in a 1, G gives me back a 0. So again, what you guys saw here in this example problem, in the first ones, instead of giving you functions, I could simply give you relations, and you can write the composite functions for relations. In this example problem, instead of giving you functions, I've given you the graphs of functions. And once again, you can work through the composites using those graphs of functions to help you find the result of the composite function. Also notice that in this case, all of them were defined, but keep in mind, you certainly could get some that are undefined or does not exist. That is always a possibility. Head on over to the next page of the notes and I'll show you another way I could ask you to do composite of functions. I'll meet you guys over there.